Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we'll be discussing about one of the most important technology that is used in large scale distributed system, Apache Kafka. So Kafka is used in large scale application like Uber, Netflix, LinkedIn because modern systems generate massive amount of events. Like if we talk about an e-commerce platform, so there are multiple events that an e-commerce platform will be generating behind the scene, like order placed, payment completed, user logged in, and any location updated. Okay, so like this, there are multiple events that get generated in a large distributed application. So Kafka is designed to handle this huge event flow reliably at massive scale. So today in this video, we'll understand why Kafka exists, what problem it solves, how Kafka works internally, topics, partitions, consumer group, offset, scaling, and real-world architecture usage. Let's first understand what is the problem without Kafka. As we take the same example of e-commerce platform, user places an order. Okay. Now, after that, many things happens like payment processing, inventory update, and then email notification to the user, analytics update for future purpose, and a recommendation engine update that recommends new product to user, similar product to the user. Now, without Kafka or any messaging service, the service internally will directly call each other. So, due to this, we face many challenges like tight coupling between our services because they are directly calling each other and they'll be depending on each other directly. Second is traffic spikes. Suppose in a big sale time, million of orders suddenly arrive, right? So direct service communication can become overloaded. And the another one is slow system. When we order something, so order service will have to call multiple service internally. Okay. So in that case, the order service will wait for all this service to complete. So in that case, user experience will become very slower. So we need a better model for this. So the Kafka communication comes into the picture, which is asynchronous. Now, why async system is needed? Now let's think differently. Suppose order service simply says order is placed and publishes event somewhere. Then payment service reacts to it. Notification service reacts to it. Analytics service reacts to it. So payment service will take that order place event, that order is placed. I will then process for payment. Notification service will pick it and it will say, okay, order is placed. I will notify user. And analytics service will log these for future purpose. Now services are decoupled completely. This is called asynchronous communication. In synchronous system, service wait for response. Okay, in asynchronous system, service just publish event and then moves on to the other task. Now, let's understand Kafka. So the core workflow is we have a producer, we have a consumer. Producer is someone or any service that produces an event. And consumer is any service that consumes an event. So any service can produce and consume both, right? So it depends on what they are actually doing. If they are just when they are producing any event, so in that case they will be treated as a producer of that event. And if other service is consuming that event, so they will be called as the consumer of that particular event. Now Kafka sits in between of this producer and consumer. Now producer and consumer don't directly call each other. They are loosely coupled because Kafka is sitting in between them for making it loosely coupled. Now comes topics. What is topics in Kafka? Topics is used to store all those events. So Kafka organizes events into topics. Think of topic like category or stream of events. So example, we can have order topic, payment topic, or user activity topic. Suppose order service publishes order 123 placed. That event goes into order topic. Now multiple consumer can read from that same topic. Now comes the partitions. So imagine when in one topic we will be receiving multiple events, like millions of events in a single topic. So in that case, what will happen that one machine cannot handle that scale, right? So for that, we will have to do partitioning within the topic itself. Okay, so we can do like in order topic, if we have our order topic, so in that we can partition it to maybe into 3 or 4 or 5 suitable, whatever suitable to us. Okay, so now in that case, message will distribute across all these partition. Okay, so this enables parallel processing and horizontal scaling. But ordering will be guaranteed only within one partition. So if we have 3 partitions, so ordering is possible within a single partition, but not across all these partition within a topic. Then comes the producers. So producer is an application that sends event into Kafka, and then Kafka move it to a particular topic, right? So for example, a payment service, order service, user service, they can also be a producer. So like order service basically creates an event, order place. So producer sends it to Kafka. Now, which partition should receive this event? This is an important question. Now, Kafka uses here partitioning logic. So often based on maybe user ID, order ID, or hash key. So that depends on the implementation, how we want to basically do the partitioning. We can do partitioning on any unique ID that we want to do. Okay, so this helps distribute load evenly. Now comes the consumer or consumer group. So consumer are the one who basically consumes these event from Kafka or from the topics. Okay, so for example, notification service reads order place event, but one consumer may become slow at a very high scale. So Kafka solved this by using consumer group. Okay, so suppose topic has 3 partitions, and we have consumer 1, consumer 2, consumer 3 waiting for these event. So Kafka distributes partitions among consumers. So each consumer processes part of that workload. This creates parallel consumption and very scalable architecture. Now, inside same consumer group, one partition can be consumed by only one consumer at a time, because this avoids duplicate processing. Now comes the offset management. This is another extremely important Kafka concept. Kafka tracks message positioning using offsets. You can think of offset like line number in log. For example, partitioning is message 0, message 1, message 2. Then consumer remembers I already processed till message 2. Now if consumer crashes after restart, it resumes from that saved offset. So this is powerful when any failure happens within our services. So we can know till what event we consume those, and after what event we want, basically which event now we want to, or which message we want to consume now. So offset help in that. Now comes data retention. Now, unlike traditional queues, Kafka does not immediately delete messages after consumption. Messages stay for some configurable duration, maybe 1 day, 7 day, 30 day. That is whatever we have configured inside. So that is called retention. So why it is useful? Because consumers can replay history. This is one of Kafka's biggest strength. Traditional queues usually remove messages once they are consumed. So Kafka behaves more like a distributed event log. Now the real use cases where we see Kafka in the real system. Now activity tracking, like Netflix tracking user watch activity, millions of events continuously flow within the Netflix infrastructure. Maybe fraud detection, like bank analyze transaction stream in real time, and notification, as I already told you, and analytics pipeline, like real time dashboard updating from Kafka stream, and some for log aggregation as well. Now, how we can scale Kafka for a large, very large scale application? So, like if we have millions of event flowing per second, so how we can handle that? So one Kafka server is not enough for that. So like for our local setup, we can set up a single Kafka server, but for a real world application where millions of requests is coming, we cannot handle the like managing cluster when we have a big architecture, and ordering complexity, as I've already told you, ordering guaranteed only inside partition but not within the partitions also. And then duplicate handling, sometimes same messages processes multiple time, so application must handle idempotency so that same message does not process multiple time. Now, comparing Kafka with the traditional queue. So in traditional queue, when we consume any message, then after that, that message is deleted. But in Kafka, message is retained. And due to that, the replay of those messages is possible. So traditional queue is good for task processing, but Kafka is designed for event streaming at huge scale. So final summary is Kafka is distributed, scalable, it is fault tolerant and event driven. That's why we prefer Kafka for a large scale application. So that is all about Kafka. Now I'll see you in the next video with a new topic. Thanks for watching.